It's been 3 weeks since Miles Carter shattered his ankle while filming a commercial stunt in downtown Chicago. A mistimed leap from a scaffold landed him in a hospital bed, and now confined to his fifth-floor apartment in Lincoln Square. He spent the endless hours watching the world from his window. His apartment faced a narrow alley framed by rows of other brick buildings, each lined with windows into other lives. From his wheelchair, stationed by the cracked bay window, Miles had become a student of people. There was the newlywed couple on the fourth floor across the valley, who argued every morning before the man left for work. The yoga instructor, who worked out at dawn, her silhouette cutting graceful shapes against her bedroom wall. The old woman with dozens of cats and a shrine of candles that flickered all night long. And the aspiring writer, always typing away at her antique typewriter, chain-smoking until sunrise. But none intrigued him more than the man in apartment 4C. Miles had named him the salesman. He always wore slacks and collared shirts, his hair parted like a man from the 50s. Each night, he came home precisely at 7:15 p.m. Briefcase in hand, he lived with a woman, his wife presumably, who watered plants and rearranged picture frames, but rarely smiled. Their interactions were brief and stiff. Miles took mental notes, cataloging gestures and timelines. Then, last Thursday, something changed. The salesman came home alone. The wife didn't appear that night, or the next, or the next. Miles repositioned the lens on his Nikon camera, zooming in on apartment 4C. The curtains were drawn half shut, but he caught glimpses. A rolled-up rug being dragged across the living room, the faint glow of the television flickering across the walls. At 2:03 a.m., the salesman emerged in rubber gloves, scrubbing something in the bathtub. He moved with unsettling calm. He hasn't come home with her in 4 days, Miles murmured to himself, jotting down timestamps in a notebook. He didn't realize Anna had walked in. "You talking to yourself again?" Anna Marquez, his live-in nurse, teased as she placed a tray of reheated lasagna on the side table. "You need real company, Miles, not window ghosts." "I think something happened to the woman in 4C, Miles said, wheeling aside to show her a photo of the rug. He was cleaning the bathroom at 2 a.m., and she hasn't been around since Thursday. Anna gave the photo a glance, unimpressed. People travel, people leave. Maybe she left him. You ever think of that? "Not like this," Miles muttered. "Not without a suitcase. No cabs, no car." Anna shook her head. "You're turning into a paranoid shut-in. Just don't get cops involved until you have something more than a guy cleaning his damn tub." But Miles kept watching. Saturday night, the alley buzzed with distant traffic and muffled music from a rooftop party 2 buildings down. Miles sat in the dark, his camera on the tripod and one hand on the shutter. At 10:22 p.m., a woman in red raincoat appeared at the door of 4C. She knocked, furious, fast. The salesman opened the door, startled. They argued. He leaned halfway into the hall, clearly agitated. The woman shoved something in his face. Photos, a letter maybe. Miles clicked off a series of rapid shots. The woman pointed inside the apartment. The salesman raised his voice. She spun on her heels and stormed down the hall. Miles reviewed the photos on his screen. The woman's face was half obscured, but her expression was unmistakable, with grief, anger, and fear. He dialed Lena, She answered on the third ring. "I'm in the middle of editing. What's wrong?" "You need to come over. Bring your mic, your recorder, whatever. I think the guy in 4C murdered his wife." Lena sighed. "Jesus, Miles, really?" "I'm serious. He dragged a rug. He disinfected the tub. Now some woman just came over with photos and they screamed at each other. Something's not right." A pause. Then, "Fine, I'll come tomorrow. Let's play detective." Sunday evening. The city was blanketed in humidity. Storm clouds looming. Lena set up a pair of binoculars beside Miles's tripod. She bought snacks, a notepad, and her digital recorder, half joking that she might get an episode out of this. By 9 p.m., the alley was alive with domestic rhythms, kids crying, dishes clanking, windows slamming. But 4C was dark. No lights, no sign of him. Miles muttered, "Maybe he's out dumping the body," Lena said, chewing popcorn. At 12:17 a.m., headlights splashed across the alley. The salesman's sedan eased into his parking spot. He popped the trunk. "Camera," Miles hissed. Lena passed it over. They watched as the salesman struggled with a long, heavy duffel bag. He slung it over his shoulder and trudged towards the building's side door. "That's too heavy for golf clubs," Lena said. Miles was already snapping photos. "He's going through the basement entrance," Miles noted. I think, Lena, that's her. We need real proof." "Then go, please." Lena stared at him. "You're serious?" He nodded. "Keep watch," she said, grabbing a flashlight. Miles tracked Lena through his camera. She crossed the alley fast, staying low, slipping through the shadow of the dumpsters until she reached the basement door. It creaked open. She vanished inside. Minutes ticked by. Miles's foot tapped involuntarily. He checked the time. It was 2:11 a.m. Still no sign of him. Then, the faint silhouette of someone moving behind a frosted glass window. A figure, male, holding a shovel. "Oh no," Miles whispered. He grabbed his phone, called Lena. No answer. The salesman exited the building a minute later, glancing nervously around the alley. Then he looked up right at Miles's window. Miles rolled back into the shadows. His heart hammered. He switched off the lights and locked the front door. He called Lena again. This time she answered. "I'm okay," she whispered. "I hid behind a boiler. He came down, didn't see me." "Lena, there's a tarp down there. I saw blood." "Yeah," she said. "There's a mound under some fresh concrete. I think she's buried here. Come back now." "I'm trying. Wait, someone's coming." The line went dead. Miles's building buzzer sounded. He wheeled to the intercom. The camera feed showed the salesman. "Miles Carter?" Man said into the speaker. "I believe you dropped this outside." Miles's mouth went dry. The knock was polite, rhythmic. Miles backed into his bedroom. He grabbed a Swiss Army knife from his drawer. Footsteps outside the door. Silence, then retreat. He texted Lena. "Where are you?" No reply. Minutes later, the window creaked open. Lena crawled in through the fire escape, gasping. "I had to circle the block. He was downstairs." Peeked through the front door peephole. Empty hallway. At 10 minutes past 6 a.m., Anna returned. She nearly dropped the keys when Lena and Miles told her everything. By 7 a.m., 2 detectives were combing the basement. Apartment 4C was abandoned. The salesman, gone. Miles's cast came off 6 weeks later. The city buzzed with the story. Local news called him a hero. Latest podcast, how the exploded in downloads, but the case never closed. The wife's body was never found. The woman in red was never identified. The salesman had disappeared like smoke. Miles promised to move on, until one night in November, at a hotel downtown, he looked out his window and saw him, across the street, smiling and waving, then gone. Miles keeps the camera by every window now, just in case, because monsters don't live in closets. They live across the alley. If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.